The house was silent when I came home that afternoon, sunlight spilling through the half-open blinds and dust dancing lazily in the air. I called out for Mom, expecting her usual warm reply from the kitchen, but instead I heard a faint voice from down the hall, a voice that made me pause. "Ethan," it said softly, "come here." My heart quickened when I realized it was my mom's best friend, Clara, and she was waiting in my mom's bedroom. Before you let your mind run wild, this isn't that kind of story. It's a story about loss, guilt, and the unexpected ways people hold you together when you feel like falling apart. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of quiet understanding, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Heartbeat Tales. Your support helps keep these emotional stories alive. When I walked into the room, Clara was sitting on the edge of Mom's bed, holding one of Mom's old scarves in her hands. She looked up at me, her eyes soft and red from crying. "Ethan," she said quietly, "your mom wanted me to give you something, but before I do, I need you to prove that you need me." I froze, confused, staring at the woman who had been part of our lives for years. Clara had been there through everything. Birthday parties, school events, the hospital visits, when Mom's illness took a turn for the worse. After Mom passed away 3 weeks ago, she'd stayed around, bringing food, helping with paperwork, trying to make sure I didn't drown in the silence. But I'd been pushing her away. I was angry at life, at the world, at the universe for taking the only person who ever really understood me. I didn't want comfort. I didn't want pity. I just wanted to be alone in my grief. So when Clara said those words, "Prove that you need me," I snapped. "I don't need anyone," I said. "Not anymore." Her expression didn't change. She just placed the scarf carefully on the bed and nodded, almost as if she'd expected that answer. Then she stood, walked to the dresser, and pulled open a drawer. "Your mom knew you'd say that," she said, pulling out a small wooden box. "That's why she asked me to hold on to this for you. She said I should only give it to you when you finally realized you couldn't do everything alone." She placed the box on the bed and walked out, leaving me in the silence I thought I wanted. I stared at that box for what felt like forever before finally opening it. Inside was a letter, Mom's handwriting, shaky but unmistakable. The scent of her perfume lingered faintly on the paper. "My sweet boy," it began, "if you're reading this, it means you've been pushing people away again. I know you, Ethan. You want to be strong for me, but strength doesn't mean silence. Please don't shut Clara out. She's been my friend since before you were born, and I trust her with my life. Let her be there for you, the way she was for me. Don't live this life thinking you have to prove you're enough on your own. You've always been enough, but it's okay to need people." The letter ended with a small, shaky heart drawn at the bottom. I didn't realize I was crying until the tears began to blur the words. The next few days were a blur. I went to work, came home, ate in silence, and tried to ignore the world. But Clara's words haunted me. "Prove that you need me." It wasn't a demand. It was a plea, a quiet way of saying, "You're not alone, Ethan. Let me help." On a bright Saturday morning, I saw her outside, tending to Mom's old rose bushes. She looked tired, her grey hair tied back, her hands covered in soil. For a moment, I saw her not as my mom's friend, but as someone who'd lost too, someone who was grieving in her own way. I walked over, picked up a shovel, and knelt beside her. "You missed a few weeds," I said quietly. She glanced up, surprised, and then smiled. We worked in silence for a while, the kind of silence that doesn't hurt. Eventually, I told her I'd read Mom's letter, that she was right. I did need people, that I didn't know how to say. Thank you for everything she'd done. Clara reached over, took my hand gently, and said, "You just did." From that day, things began to shift. We started spending more time together, cooking meals Mom used to make, watching old movies, visiting Mom's favorite park. Slowly, the house stopped feeling like a tomb and started feeling like a home again. There were still bad days, but they didn't feel so endless anymore. One afternoon, as sunlight poured through the kitchen window, Clara handed me an old photo album. "Your mom wanted you to have this when you were ready," she said. I opened it to find pictures of us, Mom laughing, Clara holding me as a baby, birthday candles, family dinners, and suddenly I understood what she'd meant all along. Proving that I needed her wasn't about weakness, it was about connection, about letting someone love you enough to carry the pain with you months later on the anniversary of Mom's passing. Clara and I visited her grave together. I placed a single rose on the stone, then looked at Clara and whispered, "I think I get it now." She smiled through her tears and said, "Your mom would be proud, Ethan." As we stood there under the golden afternoon sun, I realized that sometimes love doesn't end when someone leaves. It changes form. It lives on in the people they leave behind, in the hearts that refuse to stop caring. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to Heartbeat Tales, because every act of kindness, every story of healing reminds someone that they're not alone. Special request: comment below with a "if you believe that needing someone is not a weakness but a beautiful kind of strength." The end.